Okay, this is Daniel Holleran with the Met Ministries. Continuing with this message, this warning to people in California. People have loved ones in California. God's given me certain confirmations. I believe that there's a devastating earthquake coming to San Francisco. I think he hinted to me that also the tsunami, but many people have seen this. I'm sort of shocked how many people have been shown this by God. Now, this was the book I wanted to show. When the Wicked Sees a City. It's by Chuck and Donna McElhaney and Frank York. It's about ministers that God moved to San Francisco in His mercy to minister and to warn people in that lifestyle. Okay? Now, this is what I want to say. A little preamble here about sodomy. First of all, the only person the devil cares about is himself. He doesn't care about God, doesn't care about his Son, the Holy Ghost, doesn't care about his co-devils. He wants to be at the top. He wants everyone to worship him. And he plays everyone for a sucker. I hate to say it, but the first two victims of his were Adam and Eve. And people that are involved in a homosexual lifestyle are deceived. I know they've heard that before, and I think they think that is simply a byword or a quick reply to them. You know, how can people say they're deceived? How can you substantiate that? Well, this is a spiritual book. The Bible says that people that are not saved cannot receive it, cannot truly understand it. It says the natural man receiveth not for the things of God, for they are spiritually discerned. Okay? So it's not like any other book. It's a heavenly book. It's a spiritual book. Okay? So, the devil, all sinners, okay, all sinners, okay, are deceived. Okay? But we're confining this to people in a homosexual or a sodomite lifestyle. They are deceived. Okay? Now, I believe there's three ways that people are deceived. The first way is some people know that lifestyle is wrong. It is against nature, and nature is God. Okay? It's not natural for a man to be with a man or a woman with a woman. Okay? The parts don't fit. Okay? So anyway, but some people will deliberately drive 80 miles an hour the wrong way down the highway just to get a thrill out of life. They know it's not right. They just want to do it. Okay? Now, more compelling, I'd say, there are some Christians who don't agree with this and don't believe it, but it's in the Word. It can be substantiated. There are what you call generational curses. We have a generational bloodline. We inherit things from our forefathers, foremothers, and so forth. And the same thing is true spiritually. Okay? There's no unemployment in heaven or hell. Everyone has a job. Okay? So let's say you had a let's say you had a distant relative who had an addiction to tobacco. Okay? And it was just a byword in your family. We're all smokers. That's just the way we are. Well, I'm not saying like that person driving the wrong way down the highway, just can't pick that habit up and begin it. But what I'm saying is it could very well be true that that's a demon. That's a devil. More properly, a devil. Okay, that has followed that family. Okay? And so it's possible, many people who are in this lifestyle say, well, this is the way I am. I've always been attracted to my own gender, and I've spoken to people about it. No one has an answer for me why I'm this way. Well, if a person is truly honest with themselves, they must admit that it's problematic, that it's not correct. They don't have to figure it out, but they must admit that. And I do believe homosexuals deep down do know that it's wrong. but they don't know how to fix themselves. Well, they can't fix themselves. Only God can fix you. Even the generic sinner, only God can fix, okay? That's why Yeshua had to come and die on the cross, okay? He's also called Eliphalet, the deliverer, okay? God is my deliverer. So this comes through a family line, and that devil walks from person to person. You know, it may not be everyone in the family tree, but certain people may walk away with that devil in their life, okay? And let's say someone is very young and they become victimized, okay? They get traumatized. Well, that's an entryway, that's a door for the enemy to come in, for the devil to come in, okay? And so God is a merciful God. He has compassion on people. He wants to see people delivered. But this is the problem, not with this book, but the problem about this book, okay? That these people presented Christ to homosexuals, and they reasoned in a reverse manner, okay? If they had just repented and became born-again Christians, God could deliver them of that stronghold, okay? But to be honest, that's the truth for many people. They want God on their terms. They may not want to change, and God is God. I mean, you've got to do things according to His rules, okay? And 13 is rebellion. Now, you know, this is serious. I mean, like I said, God was showing me the slime pits, basically, and the asphalt. I was behind as soon as I pulled out today. Now, there's probably a person with this license plate in Omaha, okay? And it's a fact. It said OHH SNAP, okay? Well, what that has to do with is when the tectonic plates, there's a tension between them, then finally they snap, and there is an earthquake, okay? I was passing a truck, and the truck had an O, a large O, with an exclamation point. Oh, what a library. That has to do with the Omaha Library. Okay, and I'm going to get into that. Let's see, what else has God shown me? He showed me the word Gettysburg and Bunker Hill. In a way that has nothing to do with this message, but why not present it? I've presented it before. God has shown me there will be civil war in America, but it's going to be in the reverse order. It'll be first Gettysburg and then Bunker Hill, okay? You can look up a very fascinating vision, George Washington's visions. God showed him several events that were going to take place in the Republic. So, what's very fascinating is several times, you know, God brought me to the scriptures containing the word cottage. And that seems like a rather innocuous term in English. You know, cottage is supposed to be a peaceful place. And really in Hebrew it is. Okay? Because the Hebrew word for cottage is Sukkot or Sukkah. And we've just passed the time of the in the Hebrew calendar, but really they're the feasts of the Lord of Sukkot. And in the dream I had about the earthquake, I think in 2006 or 2007, God showed me I was in a disaster tent. And a tent is a covering, okay? Now, on the, let's see here. Yeah, the 7th of October, God says you're going to a meeting where the mayor of Omaha is holding her first town meeting since she got elected in Omaha. She's the first female mayor. She's a real Christian, okay? Not a political Christian, okay? So anyway, what was ironic was she had mentioned that she wanted to hold her first town meeting. I think she's going to have 6 or 7 of these. And she wanted to address her first 111 days in office. And I already told you about the book that God had me open. I just opened it right like that. Opened right up to page 111. Okay? Now, the mayor was on the city council before she got elected, and Omaha held some hearings, and basically they passed a law sponsored by Ben Gray, one of the councilmen, and what it did was, and what it does now, it allows me to go in a woman's restroom in Omaha, not that I will or would, and it similarly allows a woman to go into my restroom. But the most perfidious thing about this, this is allowed in the school system. And if you've gone on the news lately, I think there was a school in Colorado, I believe it was, where the young girls were complaining about being harassed from a boy who believed he was a girl. See, that's what I'm saying. The devil is all about deception. You know, and I could bring something forth here, but I won't. I know someone who was deceived like that when they were young. And to me, it's a tragedy because, you know, not everything in here is from God. And definitely not everything down here is from God. Okay? That's why you've got to be in here and in a prayer closet. So anyway, Lord says you go into this meeting with the mayor, and she was on the city council when this bill came up. It was sponsored by Ben Gray, and God had me say this publicly right to him. You know, Ben is Hebrew word for son, and Gray means deception. God's not telling the man to change his name, but spiritually, you know, this man sponsored evil, okay, in the light of light. But darkness can never truly be light. It can only masquerade as gray, okay? So, but anyway, Mayor Stother, she spoke against this, okay? Now, the Lord had me speak up. She gave a little speech, a little preamble, and then she took questions from the citizens. And I spoke first, and I knew there was nothing that could really be done about this. But I said, you remember this, you know, this passed. I can use your restroom, you can use mine, and that doesn't begin to touch what could prevail upon the children. And she said, well, you know, the city council passes laws like the Congress, and I'm the mayor, I've got to obey the law. Well, I knew that, but the Lord wanted it voiced, because that's what happens when God pronounces judgment. He always declares it first. He has the prophets, the apostles, the watch people speak it forth, warn it forth, okay? And I'm going to show you some things that God showed me, some ties between Omaha and San Francisco, okay? So, I said what God had me say, and then I didn't take a seat. I just kept my peace, okay? And the meeting was held, as I say, on the 7th of October. It was held at 7 p.m., and it was held in the Swanson Public Library at 90th and Dodge. And I think I'm going to cut it off here, and I'm going to return and get into this. Now, as I say, this is a warning on the coming devastating earthquake to San Francisco. And today's date is October 16th. It's the 17th right now. Well, in just an hour and a half, it will be the 17th of October in California, or 24 years since the 89 quake, the Loma Prieta quake. This has been Dan Holleran with Amet Ministries.